Hello and welcome to the basics of Fusion 360. In part 1 of this series, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a sketch and how it is going to interact with the other tools that you'll come to know and use in Fusion 360. So, once you've opened up Fusion and you create a new component, you will be presented with this space and it'll be completely blank, and you'll have this browser on the left here, you'll have this cube on the right, you'll have this menu up on the top. Now, this cube on the right is how you control the movement of an object. For example, if I went to this object, which I've already created, I could click on this and I could rotate it around the object. Now, there's an easier way to do that. If you have a mouse, you can press Shift, and then if you press down on the scroller wheel of your mouse, and then you can orbit the object this way as well. If you just want to move in 2 dimensions, you press down on the scroll wheel of the mouse and you can slide around. Now, for this, if you're going to get into 3D modeling, I highly recommend getting a 3-button mouse with the right click, scroller wheel, and left click buttons. It will make it so much easier. You will not believe it. Don't try and use trackpad. Only do that in the beginning if you don't have access to a mouse. Now, back to the topic of interest here, sketch. Now, how do you create a sketch in Fusion 360? Well, there's 2 ways of doing it. In this top menu bar, you will see this almost like plus sign with lines around it. And that will, if you press that, it will create a sketch. Now, the other way you can create a sketch is if you go down to this drop-down menu where it says Create, it will be the second one down, and it says Create Sketch. If you click that, then you will see these orange rectangles appear with the green, blue, and red lines sticking out between them. Now, this is the origin, and that dot right there in the middle is 0, 0, 0. So if you're familiar with a coordinate system, such as in Battleship, then this will make perfect sense to you. Now, those rectangles are planes, and planes are essentially pieces of paper that have no thickness, so they don't exist in real life, but they can stretch infinitely in 2 directions when you're looking at them straight on, which is right and left, and then up and down. And once you've selected sketch, you need to select one of these planes to draw on. And I say that in air quotations, but you can't see me. So once you've selected that, it will take you to this other menu, which is its own thing in and of itself. Now, to start drawing your object, you're going to come to the top here where it says Create again, but it's going to be an entirely different menu. Now, the first thing is going to be a line, and that's pretty simple. Once you click on that, you can just left click, drag, and it will create a line that you can enter a dimension and a degree. And to enter the degree, you press tab, then you just enter the degree, then you just enter the degree, such as 45 degrees. And that's 45 degrees from horizontal or vertical, however you view it. Now, how I'm zooming in is just scrolling the mouse wheel. The second tool in the Create menu is a rectangle, and there's 3 different ways to create a rectangle, but the main one that you need to be concerned about, and the one you'll probably use the most often, is the 2-point rectangle. And once you've selected that, if you left click and then don't hold the button but drag out, you'll create a rectangle. Now remember, all this is in only 2 dimensions. So it's essentially drawing on a piece of paper with a pencil, something similar to that. And with this rectangle, you can add a dimension, such as 10 millimeters, and to get to the lengthwise dimension, such as that was the height that we just entered, to get to the lengthwise, you press tab, and it will automatically switch, and it will highlight it in blue. So that could be 20 millimeters. Now remember, all the measurements in Fusion are in millimeters unless you go into the settings and switch them to custom settings, such as inches, or you can change it to centimeters. Now the third button up here is a circle, which is similar to the rectangle. There's multiple ways of creating a circle, but the one you'll use the most often is from center, and after you select that, you left click where you want the circle, and then you drag out, and you can set the diameter of the circle. Remember, that's the diameter, not the radius. Such as if the diameter of this circle were to be 30 millimeters, right? It's 30 millimeters from this side to this side. Now spline is the 4th tool in this section, and spline is used to create curves, and spline is used to create like a vase. Check out my other video, and other things that have curves, but you're not able to dimension it easily. So after you selected spline and you left click, you can drag, and you'll see a dot and a line wherever you drag. Now, once you left click again, don't click the check mark. But if you keep dragging, you can see that it creates a curve. And if you keep on doing that over and over again, then just connect them again, it will create an odd looking shape, which would otherwise be impossible with just a straight line. Now, if you want to modify your spline in any way, you would press escape on your keyboard and then left click, and all those green lines would go away, and you can grab these dots and move them around however you please, like that. Doesn't really matter unless you're creating something specific. In that case, you might want to try and use lines, and then just create circles, and then combine those circles with tangent lines, but that's more complicated. Now the 5th tool in here is mirror. Pretty simple. It's like looking in a mirror. So once you've selected that, you will press, this pop-up menu comes up and it says objects, and it says one selected, and you would select the object you want to mirror, then you press the mirror line. Now the mirror line is the line of symmetry, imagine. So like a stop sign has a line of symmetry in the middle, so the mirror line is like that, but it flips. That's where the object is flipping over. So if I select this side of the square, then the circle is going to flip over this line and become a circle here. Now press OK. Now these are 2 different circles, and you can't move one without moving the other because they're constrained. Now constraints are important because they show you how things will interact with each other within a sketch, and then within an assembly if you get to that point. Now the last tool in this create menu is the dimension, and you can use that to, let's say you create a square and you want to enter the dimensions in later. So let's say you create a square, you don't care about the dimensions now, but if you go to dimension it, you can select this line and this line, and then you will be able to enter the dimension in there. Now there's a faster way to get to dimension, and that's if you press the D key on your keyboard. Same with circle. If you press C, it will automatically switch and give you a circle. And then if you go to press the D key, you can dimension that circle and enter it. So that's about it for the basics of sketches. If you want to continue watching this video series, check out the next video, which will be extrusions and create 3D objects from 2D sketches. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit like,